I made millions of dollars in business, construction, real estate, digital products, but I also made mistakes that cost me years, money, and peace of mind. If I could sit down with my 20-year-old self, these are the 7 things that I would tell him. Number 1, the $10 million skill set. Master skills, not just jobs. In your 20s, don't just chase paychecks. Chase skills that pay you forever. I learned sales, negotiation, and building teams. Those skills make me money in construction, real estate, and online. A job can be taken from you. A skill can be rented for life. When I was a realtor, I was a top producer. How did I become a top producer? I took a lot of the classes that were offered at my real estate company. So I would go to all the different classes, and it taught me a lot of sales skills. For example, that's where I first started making cold calls. So we literally would go inside the phone book. I mean, we didn't have the physical phone book anymore, but we had the yellow pages online, and we would call literally people out of the yellow pages and start talking to them about, are they interested in buying or selling real estate, or do they know someone interested in buying and selling real estate? And the odds were that 1 out of every 10 people are thinking about buying or selling real estate, or they know someone thinking about buying or selling real estate. So I learned really early on about making cold calls. One of the first deals that I did was from what they call a for sale by owner. So if you drive around your neighborhood, you'll see those signs that say for sale by owner. And so what they taught us in those sales classes were, if you go around, make a list of for sale by owners in a neighborhood, call them, and then present yourself as a realtor to see if they'd be interested in listing the property with you. And the very first listing that I got was from cold calling my very first for sale by owner person. And so literally I found a sign in the community, picked up the phone, I called the guy and said, hey, my name is Coffie. I'm a realtor with the Kai's company. Where are you thinking about selling possibly with a realtor? I know your sign's been out there for a couple of weeks. He said yes. We met him, signed the deal. And so again, in that real estate journey is where I first started learning how to just cold call people. And that skill lasted me for the next 20 years. When I was in college, I worked several jobs that eventually stretched my skills. Eventually, I landed a sales position selling software to hair and nail salons. That gig led me to speaking at conventions and selling to small business owners, a skill that I still use to this day. Income follows skills. Skills are greater than a job title. Learn sales, persuasion, and digital leverage. Master skills, the money follows no matter the job. Number 2, buy back your time. Don't confuse busy with productive. I wasted years being busy. Every day felt full, but nothing moving forward. I thought I was building a business, but I was just fighting, answering emails, reacting. When I first started my YouTube channel, one of the things that I learned when reading about and studying how to build a YouTube channel, because I didn't know how to build it, they said to outsource your video editing, because a lot of times what happens is content creators get stuck trying to do everything themselves. And so by trying to do the video, the content, the script, record it, and then also the editing side, then they miss out on learning of how to make better quality videos. And so early on, I started outsourcing the editing. I never actually learned how to edit videos. Same thing when I launched my podcast. When I launched my podcast, I brought in someone to help me part-time for very little money. And that person, she was the one that took a podcast course, learned how to, what's the format for a podcast, learn how to recruit guests. And so again, I never had to go out and recruit my own guests or upload my own episodes. I just focus on the quality of the content and the quality of the interview. So again, outsourcing things to other people allowed me to be able to now get to a podcast where we're the top 1% in the world doing nearly 300 episodes, because I focus on the content, and so I wasn't burnt out by doing all of the 80% production, editing, posting, and then also recruiting the guests. So again, skills that I learned early on that I've been able to adapt and allowed me to continue to deliver content and value for people some 7 years later. On my latest agency business, I documented everything, trained my staff, and they were able to replicate my success. That's when I started scaling. Busy equals reactive, productive equals intentional. Try to block out 2 hours a day for deep work. Document once, save thousands of hours. Number 3, the 100K rule. Your first 100K, build it in silence. In your 20s, you're tempted to post everything. Don't. Build in silence, build skill, build discipline. No one needs to see it until the results show up. I worked with my first consulting client in my 20s, and my take was about 25%. One day we landed a project that netted us over $320,000. My part, $80K. So many of my friends that are really, really wealthy, you would not tell it. In fact, I remember a long time ago, one of the clients I was working with, he used to drive around in a van. That's right, like a painting van, a work van. I knew what his bank account said because we did business together and we were doing contracts. And he said he felt comfortable in the van. And then also it was a way to not give people the feeling that they were to take advantage of him. Now let's flip this on the other side. Fast forward some years later where I was working with this real estate developer, Mr. Cohen, and he picked me to pull the permits to redo his house. And so Mr. Cohen, again, I'm the contractor for his house, but he's really handling all of the subs, and he's getting all the vendors to help fix the house, but he just used my license because he did not want to use one of his friends that were also wealthy, because he didn't want them to know what he was doing, what he was spending, all these things, because they had to be involved. So he used my company, my organization, Govcon, to help him with fixing up the house. But I would never forget what he told me, is that he had a landscaper one time come over, and Mr. Cohen lived in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in all of South Florida in Coconut Grove, near the roundabout, if you guys know where that's at. But nevertheless, he had this landscaper to come over the house, and a landscaper that came over to give him a price on redoing the home. This home probably at the time was around $5 million. I think today it's probably around $12, $15 million home. He had this landscaper come by, and the landscaper drove a brand new Range Rover. And when he left, Mr. Cohen said to me, I'm not going to hire someone that drives a brand new Range Rover because I don't want to make their car payments. And so a lot of times when we think about being flashy and showing off to people, but we're still working and we're still doing business, this is how wealthy people, real wealthy people, can actually perceive you. Whereas you think that you are impressing someone, you might be impressing the people that are below you in that totem pole, but the people that have real wealth and real financial freedom, they're not so impressed with those things. And it's particularly if you're trying to do business with them, it could actually work against you and be a turnoff. Focus beats flexing. Money loves quiet. Stack small wins up to 100K. Build the bricks before you show the castle. Number 4, money math. Learn money early or it will control you forever. I made a lot of money in my 20s and 30s. I also wasted a lot. You don't need to be a financial genius. You just need a plan. Know where your money goes, know where it grows, and know what drains it. Help all of my immediate family invest in real estate. We quietly built a portfolio of 12 residential homes with over $1 million in equity. Till this day, all of my family members still own real estate, and my parents bought a trailer about a decade ago for $7,000 that's still paying them $700 a month. Earn, save, invest, repeat. 100K at 22, 1 million at 40. Learn investing, budget like a business. Number 5, the people principle. Your network will make or break you. As a teenager, I didn't understand that people are leverage. One relationship can shortcut you by 5 years. The right partner, the right client, the right mentor, the right relationship can change your life. I met a mentor who taught me how to change my construction business into a government contracting entity. That changed the trajectory of my life forever. When I was in real estate before I did construction, a lady from the church introduced me to her client, and then I became the realtor for that church, landing me dozens of real estate deals and putting me in the top 1% of realtors in all of Miami, Florida. So the person from the church, her name was Joanne Tomlin, God bless her soul, she's passed away since now. Not only did she bring me in and introduce me to the church, but she made me the number 1 go-to realtor for the entire community. And if you think about in any minority community, right, or any community as at all, the church is typically the pillar of that community. And so even though I was introduced to the church people, because all the people in the church are connected to all the people in the community, ultimately I became the realtor for those communities in and around the neighborhoods where all the church members went. That did a couple things. One, we talked about, yes, it made me a top producer down in South Florida. In fact, a top producer nationwide in selling real estate. The second thing that it did that people may not realize is it gave me access to deal flow. And so when we talk about my family acquiring 13 properties, it literally came from the deals that I learned about through those church members and the extension of the church members' families as well. So when people are running into problems or challenges, not paying their taxes or essentially falling behind on their debt, they want to sell a home. And again, I'm the realtor who also is an investor. They would come to me and say, hey, Eric, this person's in a jam. They're in a situation. We need you to help them take a look at it. And so we could go by and get a first chance or first opportunity to essentially buy those properties or invest in them if it was something that we wanted. If we didn't like the deal, we would turn around and put it up for sale. But not only did she introduce me to the people to become the top realtor, but it also became a great source of real estate investment deals, which today my sister still lives in one of the homes that we procured through the church members through that relationship that we've developed. So again, just looking at the whole picture, it was more than just becoming a realtor. It led to real estate investment deals, and ultimately it's what helped us build wealth for our family. Environment greater than willpower. Relationships or ROI. Who are you learning from? One relationship can change your next 10 years. Number 6, progress over perfection. You don't need to figure it all out. I used to stress about not exactly knowing what to do with my life, but no one does. Clarity comes from doing, not waiting. I started a construction company with no long-term plan. The things that I learned helped me become a better leader, taught me about finance, and about dealing with complex issues of a business. Now I have a successful YouTube channel that's built around all the things that I learned in the construction industry just because I took that next step. So when I first started construction, again, I didn't know anything about construction, just like when I started real estate, I didn't know anything about real estate. But when I started like rehabbing some of the properties that we acquired, I quickly found or was presented to another mentor of mine, Mr. Joe Brown, who's now since gone. But Joe Brown literally helped me. He was a well-known developer and investor in real estate properties who was a former math teacher when I was down in middle school. But he had invested in lots of properties down in southern part of Miami. And so when I started investing in properties and started fixing them up, he came to me and literally said that he would help me and find contractors and vendors to fix up these homes. And so he took me under his wing. And not only did he introduce me to many of the vendors that I continued to work with throughout the next 10 or 12 years, but he also went even further than that because he didn't work anymore. He was retired and he was still wealthy. So he literally was bored and he would come out, spend time with me at my properties while I was fixing them up. He would bring contractors and vendors and he would even watch them. He would supervise some of them. And if I wasn't around, he would even go as far as paying people that need to be paid right away. And then I could pay him back later. So what I've seen in my life and everything that I've done is if you take the first step, the people that you need, the people that are going to come, the world kind of conspires to help you in a way. And so the people will make room for you if you start by first taking the step. I don't know this back then when I started. I just did things. And then every time that I would do something, there would be people that came into my life that would help support those things that I was doing. Action equals feedback, speed over perfection, done over dreamed. You don't need certainty, you need momentum. Number 7, the freedom filter. Build a life, not just income. I know people that make $300,000 a year that are miserable and they hate every part of their life. Money is fuel, but the goal is freedom, time, and joy. I left the business doing $2 million a year because it owned my life. I built a new model that allowed me to make an impact, spend time with family, and ability to travel. After my aunt passed away during the time where I was in real estate and I had all the money and I had the means to go see her, but I put my career and my business and my clients in front of my aunt, I decided that I didn't want to live like that anymore. And so when I went on YouTube and I started making content, before I did that, I made a decision that I want to take back my life and I wanted to build a life that would put family and particularly family or emergency situations first and prioritize that versus my income and my needs. And so that is how, since that time, I started building out a different type of business, a different type of life for myself, so that in the event, in the case that someone needed me, and it was someone that I was particularly close to and I wanted to be there, that I could afford to be there for them. And so that's what I did, and that's what I continue to do today. Today, my clients are my friends, my students are my partners. I get a chance to speak, coach, invest, and decide life on my own terms. Freedom over flexing, time over toys, peace is the goal. Don't just build income, build peace. That kid had no idea that he'd build multi-million-dollar businesses, but he did. He figured it out. And so can you. Stack real skills, protect your focus, learn money, and spend time with people who make you better. Don't wait to start building the life you actually want to live. If this hits you, hit subscribe. I'll break it down piece by piece because no one handed me the blueprint, but I'm handing it to you.